Voy. Es Miguel.
So we are going to listen now the expansion of Oregon Planetary Nebula. This is a work made by several people in different countries and places. So it's not just my work, but many more people involved. So we know that planetary nebula are born to die. They are going to expand and they are going to disperse into the interstellar medium. If you use very few distances and you select a few planetary nebulae, you see how they expand with age, they change their morphologies, and finally they will disperse into the ISM. But there are a few of them, chosen one, that they are allowed to come back to life, and those are the born again planetary nebulae. This way. Okay. So this is the plot we've seen before, and at the end of the aging phase, there is what's called the thermal pulse phase, where we have helium and hydrogen burning in different shells. Most of the time, the star is burning hydrogen, but at some moment, the helium shell is going to increase in mass, and it's going to get to the critical mass, and there is a helium shell flux inside the star, so that the luminosity is going to increase in a short period of time, and then go down. So this is going to stop the burning of hydrogen, and finally you get again the same structure in the star and the same luminosity. This is not a big issue for the star because it has the envelope around it that is going to absorb most of the changes in the inner structure of the star. But if this happened later in the evolution of the star, when the star has already taken the post-aging phase, so there is very little material to stop that helium shell flash. Imagine a star that is still in the aging phase with this structure, so that the helium shell has a mass which is very near the critical mass for the helium shell flash. So during this part of the diagram, the star is going to burn hydrogen into helium, filling this shell, and it may happen that at some moment here, the helium gets to the critical mass and it's going to produce what's called a very late thermal pulse. What is going to happen is that the star is going to eject material which is highly processed. Basically, the structure of the star is intact. The core of carbon and oxygen remains intact, but material is ejected into space, and this is very highly processed. So if you look at the envelope of those sources, you see the H beta, H alpha lines, so we are hydrogen rich. But if you look at the innermost regions, basically you don't see those lines. So it's material which is basically consistent of helium, carbon, oxygen, and some nitrogen too. We know the most recent of those phenomena happened in February 1996. This is a Sakurai object. It was first believed to be a nova, but a slow nova, but then people realized that there was a planetary nebula around. So this is the latest Oregon source. But if we look at the old graphic for again, we see this kind of structure. We see those nodes inside, which are bright in hydrogen, in oxygen-3, and these are producing this kind of chaotic beta-like feature. This is Alu-13, oxygen-3, Alu-78 in oxygen-3. So we see those nodes there, and they are kind of blowing new shells inside the old, smooth outer shells. Actually, the kinematics of those sources is dramatic. It's been actually, there was a nice work by Pedro Lopez and John Nebulae in the mid-90s, and And they realized that the expansion here is really amazing that you have those bubbles. So this is the shell that you see here in our 78. This is the slit I'm drawing here from their work. And we see the nodes that they are expanding basically at the same expansion of this shell. But sometimes you see those tails they expand at velocities up to 200 km per second. So that was kind of interpreted as evidence for mass loading of the wind, processes of vibration, and for the vibration, so the material from this node is picked up by the stellar wind, which is going to accelerate it at faster speeds. Here is, sorry Stephen, it's not your name, this is Stephen and Lopez. This was before that they made some nice simulation about this phenomenon. Actually, another interesting thing about these processes is that the kinematics implies that we have in most of the cases a kind of a wind-like equatorial feature with some bipolar outflows going at faster speeds. And this is very typical for all Borneo planetary. For the Guerrero AB58, and it also seems to be the case for Sagittarius object, where you see some evidence for a toroidal structure there. Okay, so we were interested in looking at the expansion of those sources, and in 2012 we used archival HST images, and there was a free image of them in 1994, and we also used broadband images that basically they included just the asymmetry line. So these are not very high sensitive observation, but when we made the comparison, we expanded the old images and compared them to the new ones using the method developed by Bruce. So we realized that there was an expansion of about 2% in about 20 years. So we were able to figure out the expansion age of 850 years for R13. And so if we plot here in this diagram how the terminal velocity and the mass velocity rates from different estimates for those objects for which we have ages, we see that this is very dramatic, the change in the terminal velocity and mass velocity rate of those sources. In just about 100 years, so the speed of the stars come back to 2,000 km per second, and the mass velocity rate is decreasing by at least 2 orders of magnitude. So this is really a very fast phenomenon, and it provides us the opportunity to explore the interaction of very fast stellar wind showing with material which is very close, very nearby the center of the star. So if this kind of interaction were to have the UV flux from the star, which is photoevaporating material, here we have the stellar wind showing with having 4 nodes, producing kind of bow shocks, and this is going to produce X-ray emission that we have detected with X-ray satellites, and there is also a lot of dust there. Dust is formed in just a very short time lapse. So there is a lot of physics that will come in. So the point was that the broadband imaging of the HST was not very sensitive, so we requested new observation with 20 years apart in the OB3 lines. And now here I can show you. Here, so this is the 1994 image of our 30. This is a ghost, the image. And if we compare with the new images, we can see how it expanded from 1994 to 2013. So this is the kind of analysis that we are doing. We are aligning the images, scanning them, and when we subtract the images, we make a profile so we can see the quality of the comparison in this here, so that we are able to measure the expansion on different line of sights. If we look at 78, so this is again the ghost there, and this is the old 1995 image. And if we look at the 2012, so you can also see the expansion, and you can also see that there are some morphological changes in the expansion. So, I don't know whether this is going to work. Let's try. Okay, so you can see here, if you expand the different factors, the old images, you can see how at some moment some of the nodes they get null in the difference image. So you see you are able to measure the expansion that we here we are. Let me show you that. So you see, for instance, here that node is disagreeing. There are those other stars in the field of view. And so actually, if you're able to follow this movie, you see that some of the features they disappear at some expansion rate and at some magnifying factor, and some of them they disappear at other magnifying factors. So actually, the expansion is not homologous. 5 minutes, okay. So the expansion is not homologous. Some of the features they expand faster, they have relatively higher proper motion than some of the others. So there is a lot of dynamics here. Features are being accelerated or decelerated speed down in this process. We can also look at the outer shell of AL78. So this is the old, just the image of that, and I'm going to point here so you can look at that feature in comparison with that star there, and you see that there is really noticeable expansion of the shell. So here I can present some preliminary results of what we are doing. Basically, we have obtained those images. We have determined the expansion rate of the innermost nodes into these sources. So that's about 2,000% for AL30, which is an age of 850 years, 2.5% for AL78, which is 700 years. So there is evidence for non-homologous expansion. The fastest regions have the smallest relative proper motion. And indeed, if you look at the bipolar outflows, those are they expand at faster kinematical, at faster speeds. Actually, they have lower relative proper motion, so they are being decelerated. Probably they are picking up more material, or they are getting farther away from the central star, which is the source providing them with momentum, and so their speed is going down with time. There is also evidence for changes in the relative brightness of different regions and the morphology of the nodes. In particular, we see kind of non-radial, what I call pseudo motions, because those are probably caused by brightening and fading of different regions in the nodes. There is also evidence for the node ablation in mass loading, because the tail length is increasing with time for some of the features. So there is a lot of work that we are doing with this course and with these images, and I just advise you to stay tuned to these two papers. Thank you.
Questions? Oh, sorry.
You find the difference in these ages with older versions. Do you have thought about whether Guerrero's models have 2 times the return to the age B, that you have even 2 episodes of the dots?
2 episodes of ejection?
Yeah. With a distance of a few hundred years?
I don't think so. I mean, most of them they have basically the same age. It's just a question of a few percent. I mean, it's going from maybe 800 to 900 years. But you see, when you look at the kinematics, you see those that have long tails. So the materials, they are really being, it's taken from the node, accelerated at very fast speed. So I would say that you should expect dynamical effects in these processes. So to me, it's not surprising that you see those kind of different images.
Yeah. So you mentioned 2 reasons for the deceleration. One is that you're picking up mass. Well, what was the other one? I didn't understand. Did you give two reasons, possible reasons why they're decelerating? The first one I understood, that they're picking up mass.
Yeah.
What was the second reason?
Well, as they get further away.
As they go farther away from the center star, it may happen that they are picking up less momentum. But I would say that this is basically mass load of the wind, which is, it's picking up more material. They have the same momentum, but more mass of the velocities being down.